So yeah, I think we'll move on then to our last segment of the show, which is our rugby news of the week.
Yep.
And there was a bit of news this week. The best of the news was one that I mentioned in the South African section, but Siya Kolisi returns to training.
He's training with the Western Province in the Currie Cup, but that's massive news.
Yeah.
Great to see. This Captain Kolisi back for the box. He's going to be back for the World Cup. It seems like it was all subterfuge and lies that he was going to miss it, and he will miss the Rugby Championship. They're not going to, obviously, he's not in the squad this week, and they probably won't pick him for the Argentina game next week. But he'll come back in, and even as a figurehead, such a great guy to have in the dressing room. And quietly, one of the best flankers in the world when he does get on the pitch and he's playing well. So this is awesome news. I'm delighted to see it. And,
even though he was one of the best water boys you'll ever see.
He was. He did as good. I mean,
the guy can do no wrong.
So you think there's a limited number of ways a person can excel, and then you watch Siya Kolisi be a water boy.
And you're like, oh, wow.
And to be fair to him, he was given instructions. He was buoying up the boys.
Pats on the
he was
back,
getting cheers from the crowd every time he was running out.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was just great.
I love it.
He's a very important element to the feel-good factor around South African rugby right now.
It's one of the best things Razzie's done. And Razzie's done a lot of good things.
It was
making him captain.
It was one of the more obvious ones.
Exactly.
Because he was already the leader.
He was just he was the only guy in that floundering team who was trying his absolute heart out, and he was so often under the posts after someone missed a tackle out wide and just hands on his head and just like think.
Then he would still pull off a great play the next phase. He was damn near Sergio Parisse.
He was, So it's it'll be impressive. He's been impressive every time, and it's exciting to have him back on the field in whatever capacity for the Western Province this time. But back in a Springbok jersey sooner than later, and he'll be ready for the World Cup. The other bit of news is not really news. It's just that I thought it was news because it was fun, and I had been calling it for years. And that is that Matthew Bastareaud, in his little period that he's going to be playing for Lyon until the end of the year, not the full season, he's been picked in a pre-season game at number 8. And I'm like, finally,
he's always been a number 8. Yay!
Just play him there.
He's a good number. He's actually quite a quick number 8. And great breakdown player. And I just think this could be a new lease of life for the man. He's been a number 8. He could be a more useful number 8 in the French squad than Louis Picamol.
Probably, possibly.
So I think finally he's found his calling at this late stage in his career. And
that's true. Well, he doesn't have to defend those very, very quick men at 13 anymore. Which is like,
and he's not also bringing an end to great attacking play by being in the 13 channel when he's a number 8.
Yes, indeed. It's always been a bit of a baffling one, but then trust Toulon to be mad.
And trust Lyon to come up with a solution, apparently.
There you go,
for them.
Lyon, we were throwing a bit of shade at them in the tail end of the top couture for just not being as exciting as your Clermonts or your Toulouses.
Well, they're exciting me now. They're putting Bastareaud 8. Awesome.
8, yes. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I wonder if that'll carry on into his American rugby career now that he's going off to rugby.
I'm curious. I wonder he may even have the freedom of New York to just say, I want to play where I want to play.
I want to play 10.
No, Matthew,
10. No. Crash balls all day. But then he keeps scoring. So you know it's bad play.
He's going to tear it up
running
over
there. 4 people.
Yeah, he's going to, wherever he plays, he's going to tear it up over there.
They will not handle him. They will not handle him. So that was. It's like it's a bit of a stretch to call it news, but it is news. Yeah,
I think it's news.
Newsflash. Bastareaud, always at number 8, and now finally he is one.
Yes.
And then other news, we have Namibia set to play 2 tests against the Southern Kings as part of their World Cup.
The Kings are bailing everybody out right now. They're playing a load of pre-season games against Tier 2 opposition, and Namibia didn't have any pre-World Cup games organised.
Right.
Namibia is a kind of a gas example. They've had 1 or 2 games, and we don't really know much about them, except we are to infer that they've improved. But geez, they just are frozen out of the Tier 2 circuit for a team that's on that level. They just don't have a competitive environment to play in, and it's a shame that they're only going to get a couple of games against the Southern Bleeding Kings.
Which is no prep at all.
It really isn't. But it is good that the Kings did that for them. The Kings are also going to go out to Georgia and play. They're going to fly out to Tbilisi to play Georgia for a game.
Awesome.
They're just good guys. Just good guys.
It's just really sound. Southern Kings.
They are Kings.
Well, sure, I know that Leinster are playing Canada in a couple of weeks, isn't it? Or is it next week? Might be next week.
I don't know when. It could be next week, I think.
But it's good. It's good little clubs step up. It's good for Tier 2 sides to get that little bit of challenge this side of, because it is, you do need a few hitouts for sure.
100%.
That's definitely good news for Namibia, because it would have been just a shocking indictment of kind of just rugby's the have and the have-nots again. If Namibia were going into the World Cup completely cold.
And to be fair, it's not like that's resolved by a couple of hit-outs against the Kings.
It's not, but it is definitely improved, if not resolved.
There's another bit of news that I wanted to mention, which is that we didn't mention it in the All Black squad selection, but they've actually narrowed their squad. Steve Hansen has cut his squad by another 5, and it includes the absences of Tuini Kawafe, with the main headline absence, and Shannon Frizzell as well, who started at 6 against the Box.
You were saying last week how he's now got the 6 jersey. But,
now it's between debutant Jacobson and Vea Fafita, who has less than set the world alight. They're the 6s, unless you want to move Matt Todd to 6. Which is... It seems a very strange call, but Shannon Frizzell is gone, and I thought he's been great, so I just wanted to say a special goodbye to him, because I won't see him this side of the World Cup.
Sparring injury, it's a shame. It's a far cry from Jerome Kino. It's still... it's a questionable call.
It is,
It's a questionable call.
I think so. I just thought it was worth a mention.
Definitely worth a mention. But then the other news, which is kind of New Zealand-based news, is that they reported a monetary, fiscal loss of 17 million for 2018.
Million, I think that's New Zealand dollars.
Right.
For the year 2018, that is.
After a 30 million surplus the year before due to Lions.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's they were trying to play it off as they always expect, losses after the Lions tour and the Lions tour supplements everything, etc., etc. But I mean, that's a pretty big loss, and one of the things that they've been pointing to about it was the attendances at Super Rugby games, and there's just not a lot of... There's a definite drain that's going with the player drain from the country. There's a drain of money being invested in those clubs, fans turning out to see the games because the best players aren't at them. Super Rugby is losing its pomp. It's becoming less competitive with Europe and very much seemingly a tier below almost the Champions Cup, definitely financially, but almost in terms of the public interest as well. You do see a fair few empty seats now throughout the course of a Super Rugby even
season.
in the Kiwi stadiums, which wasn't always the case. So there's that concern there, and definitely long term, the Nations League fell through. But something is going to have to be set up to make sure that our southern friends, not leaving behind our tier 2 friends as well, but there's quite a few rugby unions making a loss, and there's something is going to need to change. So while we might be relatively happy with the status quo, as it were, there are actually going to have to be some tinkerings to be done to make sure that everybody's getting
just
their fair share.
Bougelal buy all the players.
Oh yeah. This is something. This is
part of it. Yeah.
He bears some responsibility for that, and Australia, I imagine, are as bad. And some of the blame for that lies on Bougelal's doorstep. Not that he'd ever care.
I know, but it is a point here. The player drain is exactly that, and it means you're siphoning the extra talent away from them,
and the interest and the money and everything.
It's one. They fall like dominoes when that it starts rolling. So that was it was a curious little bit of news, because you'd think obviously the All Blacks such an institution and stuff, but 17 million is quite a hefty loss to be taking in one fiscal year. Yeah,
when you consider that the Lions tour, which is supposed to subsidise everything, got them a profit of 30 million, that puts 1 year's 17 million loss. Like, that's more than half of those profits gone in a year.
Yeah, that's
so you got to be careful.
Something's got to change.
I just wanted to mention the one point, because we had mentioned it last week, and I had said that this is kind of petty, but Sam Lousy and Cooper Vuna from Tonga came out last week and criticised publicly World Rugby for sanctioning them to play on the muddy pitch in that great game against Samoa in the mud. They were given out about the pitch. They thought it was a disgrace, and they were somehow pinning this on World Rugby, which I was just like, what are they supposed to do? They're putting the game to Samoa. That's exactly what it's supposed to be like. And it turns out I am 100% right. And not only am I 100% right, the World Rugby were more on the ball than I thought. I love criticising World Rugby when it's merited, but it just so wasn't here. They actually looked at the weather ahead in Samoa, called the tournament organisers and the Samoan Rugby Union to say, look, it might be absolutely catastrophically bad weather in Apia next week. If you fancy moving the game down to New Zealand, we can do it. And there wasn't a more acceptable stadium in either of the islands that wasn't going to be affected by the weather.
Sure.
So it was like, we can move it down to New Zealand and play it on a dry track. And the Samoan Rugby Union said, no, we're happy to play it at home. We want to get the fans in with the game. We want to bring the game to Apia.
Yeah.
And that was fair enough. And
that's
the
exactly
ref sanctioned. The only thing is that the ref said that the pitch wasn't waterlogged and didn't call off the game. And the Samoans, unlike the Tongans, embraced the conditions, played a class game, and got a deserved win.
Got a big win in front of their home fans, which is, it all worked out. And
but those Tongan boys were talking brown when they were giving out about World Rugby. On this occasion, I'm right to defend them.
Yeah, no, for sure. In this one instance, they got it right, got it spot on. And then I suppose we'll just pivot to the Currie Cup.
We'll wrap it all up with the Currie Cup,
as we have been doing, because obviously there's been a lot of rugby going on. This has been a long enough show to break down a lot of games. I don't know how many games did we break down? 5, 6, 7? Seven games. But there was more going on, because the Currie Cup is the ever there under the radar going on in amongst all this international rugby. And the results from the weekend just gone. The Lions snuck a win against the Cheetahs, 24-22.
Came back from behind, as they love to do.
Yeah. The Pumas actually got a W against your beloved Sharks, 27-20.
I actually watched that game. The Sharks are not the force that they were with their Esterhazens on their arms in defence. I mean, they were pretty brittle.
Yeah.
They got a couple of quick-fire tries that gave them a lead and then didn't score thereafter, and the Pumas deserved it. I mean, they were pretty tame. I think Kerwin Bosch had a good game, but in defence in particular, they were not what they should be. They're supposed to be big and strong and standing up, and they very weren't.
But
deserved their defeat.
Yeah, and the Greekers continue to go from strength to strength and absolutely put a whooping on the Bulls.
The Bulls were very annoyed by that one. Their coach is under fire. He came out and called it like a disgrace, an unacceptable disgrace from his players, that performance. Right. And it was all very disappointing.
That's all dramatic. Well, 37-15 was what it was
in Loftus
Field.
Yeah.
Ooh. And the Bulls propping up the bottom of the table with 5 points accrued.
The Sharks not doing much better on 6.
But the Pumas have leapfrogged them into from the bottom of the table up to 7 points with the Western Province. And the Cheetahs are on 11. The Lions are on 13, which leaves the Greekas on top with 50.
Yeah, I don't remember the Greekas ever winning a Currie Cup, but I think I'm kind of rooting for them now.
I am now, Well, after they put the whooping on the Bulls, then I'm kind of like...
anyone who does that is a friend of yours.
Yeah. Well, the Bulls just kind of deserve it when they play like that, you know? And they 100%. Do sometimes play like that. And just whoever's playing them, I'm going like, go out and score that try. They're giving it to you.
They kind of need the Ben Ryan treatment sometimes.
They do.
Bulls.
Actually, Ben Ryan would be a great shout for the Bulls, to be honest. But... we
get
digress.
him there as official disciplinarian.
Yes, that headmaster role. Give him a ruler to just slap the boys in the back of the head when they're not defending or switching off. Their brain just switches off for 90 seconds and then it's a try. So that's the Currie Cup. And is that
that's everything?
Where are we at with the Currie Cup though? Is that?
Oh, I mean, it's still going. It goes on.
How much longer do we have with it?
A while. I mean, there's a playoff stage as well.
Okay, yeah. So nothing's decided yet.
No.
But the Greekers are looking good. Lions are looking okay as well, and it's a competitive enough one.
Actually, I like the Cheetahs. Hopefully the Cheetahs can make some.
Yeah, I'd like that.
For Pro 14,
Pro 14 kinship now, only recently established. But go on the Cheetahs.
Absolutely.
So that's the crack. And
the Mitre 10 Cup starts next week now as well. I'm not sure if we'll have time to cover that too.
Well, we may do something similar. Stick some results in the news segment. Because it is news. It is rugby news. Is the Mitre 10 Cup.
I'll give you that.
But with that, I suppose we'll wrap up another show in the books. This was episode 60.
Yep. Thanks for watching the Overlap Rugby podcast. If you want to subscribe, there should be a button up here. Don't forget to give us a like and share with your friends, and please leave comments down below. We love the conversation. Thanks.